The United States, on this May 19, 2025, is a simmering volcano ready to spew flames that could ignite the entire world. In Washington, under a spring sky that contrasts with the electric atmosphere, Donald Trump, back in the White House since January, is orchestrating a breathtaking political, economic, and social spectacle. Barely 4 months after his inauguration, he's imposing his vision with raw energy. Near absurd tariffs, migrant deportations that have human rights defenders up in arms, executive orders dismantling Biden's legacy, and a diplomacy as flashy as it is provocative. But this isn't just the story of a controversial president. It's a saga that touches every corner of the planet. From the ports of Los Angeles to German factories, Asian markets to your online shopping cart. Why does this matter to you, young person scrolling through this text? Because the decisions made there will jack up the price of your sneakers, complicate your travel plans, and maybe even change how your country handles its borders or economy. So, settle in. We're diving into this American chaos with a gripping, hyper-detailed story in clear and lively language, like a Netflix series, but geopolitical. Picture a nation where every day is a new episode packed with plot twists. This morning, US news channels are looping on a major event. Yesterday, May 18th, a key congressional committee greenlit an ambitious tax bill, a hard-fought victory for Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson. This bill is a cornerstone of Trump's puzzle, slashing taxes for corporations and the wealthy to jumpstart the economy. But at the same time, another project even more critical to Trump's national agenda crashed spectacularly. Republican lawmakers supposed to be his allies voted against it, exposing gaping fractures within his own camp. It's like the star football team refusing to follow the coach's playbook. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, the port of Los Angeles, one of the world's largest, is bracing for a 35% drop in container traffic. Why? Because of Trump's record-breaking tariffs hitting up to 145% on Chinese goods and affecting Canada, Mexico, and other partners. These tariffs are Trump's signature, protecting American industry at all costs. But surprise, he signed a 90-day trade truce with China, a tactical move that sent Asian markets soaring. This guy knows how to play every angle. But the story doesn't stop there. Globally, Trump is conducting a chaotic world orchestra. He lifted sanctions on Syria, a decision that caught everyone off guard and some call brutal. He's putting insane pressure on Iran to halt its nuclear program, risking a Middle East flare-up. He signed an economic deal with Ukraine on April 30, giving the US privileged access to its minerals and natural resources in exchange for a reconstruction fund for the war-torn country. But he's snubbing Israel, a historic ally in his diplomatic tours, raising eyebrows in Tel Aviv. And then there's the story even his fans are buzzing about. Trump accepted a luxury plane from Qatar, a $400 million toy that reeks of conflict of interest and shocks a country where millions struggle to pay rent. Socially, America is a powder keg. Fentanyl overdoses from that ultra-deadly drug killing tens of thousands dropped from 76,000 deaths in 2023 to 48,422 in 2024. That's good news thanks to treatments like naloxone and better healthcare access. But Trump uses it to bash Mexico and China, accused of letting drugs slip through. Migration is the other earthquake. Trump wants to deport millions, including to crisis-ridden places like Afghanistan. Imagine being forced to leave your home, school, friends, for a place where your life's at risk. The UN is screaming scandal, citing gross human rights violations, but Trump stands firm. Then there's the California tragedy, an intentional explosion outside a clinic killing one person. The FBI is investigating and everyone's wondering, domestic terrorism, social rage? These events show how on edge America is. To understand how we got here, rewind to January 2025, when Trump reclaimed power after a blockbuster election campaign. His promise? Restore America's greatness with a capital G. His plan is clear. Tear down everything Joe Biden built. In 4 months, he's churned out executive orders to scrap environmental rules like CO2 emission limits, cancel diversity programs, stuff promoting equality in companies or schools, and launch a purge in the civil service. He wants to run the government like a startup, firing employees he deems too close to Democrats or too woke. Result? He's cut $160 billion from the federal budget. Not nothing, but far from his $2 trillion goal, showing he's struggling to impose his vision. His other obsession is trade war. His sometimes insane tariffs are meant to protect American jobs, but are shaking global supply chains. The Port of Los Angeles is on the brink of suffocation, and thousands of dock workers or truckers risk unemployment. Economically, it's a mixed picture. In September 2024, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates from 5.25 to 5.5% to 4.75 to 5%. Why? The economy's slowing. Unemployment's ticking up. Prices are rising more slowly, that's disinflation, but factories aren't keeping up. In April 2025, industrial production flatlined when analysts hoped for growth. It means the US, despite its might, is stalling. Trump's tariffs could make it worse. Economists predict a 20% price hike on tech products in Europe due to China tariffs. Your next smartphone, earbuds, or console could cost an arm. In the US, families are feeling the pinch. Grocery carts, gas bills, everything's pricier. But what makes this moment so explosive is how Trump divides America. Only 45% of Americans approve of him, a lousy score for a president early in his term. His fans, often in rural or conservative areas, love his style: fewer rules, lower taxes, more national pride. They see him as a hero defying Washington elites. But others, in cities, among minorities or youth, are furious. On May 1st, thousands marched to denounce his migration policies, waving signs for migrant rights. These protests show an opposition gearing up to fight in the streets or on social media. On X, hashtags like Stop Deportations or Trump Out are everywhere, though his supporters fire back with MAGA, Make America Great Again. In Congress, it's another battlefield. Republicans, controlling the House, are supposed to be Trump's team, but they're bickering like kids. The tax bill passed yesterday was a feat, but the blockage of another key project shows some lawmakers won't blindly follow Trump. These moderate Republicans, often from less radical districts, fear budget cuts or tariffs will anger their voters. If these splits persist, Trump could be stuck like a captain without a crew. Globally, Trump's playing a high-stakes poker game. The China truce is like hitting pause in a boxing match. But if talks fail, Beijing could retaliate with its own tariffs, hitting US giants like Apple, Tesla, or Amazon. For you, that means pricier Netflix subscriptions or video games. In Europe, US tariffs threaten the auto industry, a pillar in Germany, France, or Italy. Brands like Volkswagen or Renault could lose billions, cutting jobs and hiking car prices. In the Middle East, Trump's playing strategist. Lifting Syria sanctions is a bet to calm the region but annoys allies. Snubbing Israel is like ignoring a loyal friend, straining ties with a key partner. With Iran, he's turning up the heat on nuclear issues, risking a crisis. And that Qatari plane, it's the kind of stunt that makes people say, this guy's in another world. The Ukraine deal, signed April 30th, is another masterstroke, or controversial deal depending on your view. The US gets access to Ukraine's natural resources, minerals, gas, in exchange for a reconstruction fund. For Washington, it's a way to boost influence in Eastern Europe against Russia, but for Ukrainians, it feels like exploitation. Their war-torn country must surrender its wealth. The deal also sidelines Russia and complicates peace talks, with Putin and Zelensky refusing to speak directly. Back in the US, social tensions are palpable. Mass deportations are a machine crushing lives. Entire families, settled for years, are sent to countries they no longer know. The UN calls it a humanitarian crisis, but Trump sees it as proof of toughness. The fentanyl crisis shows a paradox. The drop in overdoses is huge progress, but Trump uses it to bash Mexico and China, poisoning relations. The California explosion is a wake-up call. One dead, an ongoing investigation, and haunting questions. A lone act or a sign of deeper violence? In a country where guns flow freely and polarization is at its peak, every incident could spark a fire. So what does this mean for you, young reader? First, your wallet. Trump's tariffs will likely hike prices on everything you buy. AirPods, PS5, Zara clothes. In Europe, experts predict a 20% jump in tech product costs. If you're dreaming of US travel, expect pricier flights or hotels as inflation hits. Next, your future. If the global economy slows due to this trade war, it could limit job, internship, or study abroad opportunities. Migration tensions might inspire other countries to tighten laws. In France, Morocco, or elsewhere, immigration debates could heat up, affecting you if you vote or advocate. But above all, Trump raises questions that hit home. His pitch is every country for itself, with fewer environmental rules, fewer migrant rights, and more power for the rich. Is that okay with you? Or do you want a more open, greener, fairer world? These choices aren't just made in Washington, they're in your chats with friends, the TikToks you share, the elections you'll soon vote in. Trump's a mirror. He forces you to think about what you want for tomorrow. On May 19th, 2025, the US stands at a crossroads. Trump wants a strong, inward-looking America with tariffs to protect factories, deportations to clean the country, and a diplomacy like a businessman's deal. But obstacles pile up. A divided Congress, a society on the brink, a wobbly economy, and annoyed allies. The China truce, falling overdoses, and Ukraine deal are glimmers of hope. But risks loom large. Runaway inflation, global conflicts, human rights violations. What's happening there is a wave that'll hit your life whether you're in Paris, Casablanca, or Tokyo. So, speak up. What do you think? Are Trump's tariffs smart for saving jobs or a disaster for your budget? Are deportations fair or inhumane? And this Kardashian-style diplomacy, does it make you laugh or freak you out? Drop your thoughts in the comments.